see it's raining downtown and all, but you know, y'all get an idea of downtown. Raining. Alright, y'all, so I think the microphone is coming from here. I don't know if it's coming from here or if it's coming from the USB. I need to get a new one. Grand Rising, everybody. I think I said good morning. Grand Rising, not good morning. We're not mourning anything. As y'all can see, I got my Friday shirt on, so you know I'm gonna get down to my podcasting today. We're still gonna get the Roadcaster together. This is gonna be Digital Journal 41, I believe. I found some very interesting things. Updates on Cyber International's interview. I'm calling him out publicly. That's my good guy, Cyber International. That's my brother that went overseas. And he was like, man, DP, find me something, man. Find me something remote. And I'm like, you back in the States. You owe me an interview, brother. You're going to have to give me that interview. I need that good insight. But this is a good brother. I'm going to get these interviews together. Oh, that's TCS. Patel done hit me up. They got a Salesforce business analyst position. I just got that email while I'm talking to y'all. It's $55 to $60 an hour, but it's through TCS. I gave y'all that story on TCS. TCS is like a government contractor almost. They had a big lawsuit because they were only hiring people of quote-unquote East Indian Asian descent. That's technically Asia. So they told me that since you worked there before, you can't go in there again. But I'm about to see what's going on. Maybe as a contractor, I could bypass it. I don't know. But highest bidder, man. Your bank account is where your loyalty lies at. So you go with the highest bidder. Don't worry about, relationships with people, at work and all that kind of stuff, man. Your bank account is your wife. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about emotional attachments to these places. They're buildings. This is a vessel, and the building is just an inanimate object in a vessel. Go with the highest bidder. I'm telling y'all from personal experience. Anyway, I'm gonna post that on our message board. I'm gonna start using that a little bit more. I haven't been using it as much, and there's a lot of reviews I owe you guys. So remember, I work for you. Being Black in IT is about me serving the Black population, specifically the Black American population, but Black in general. So I work for you. I want y'all to understand that. So if you see something that I post, wherever you are, and you a brother or a sister globally, I'm gonna try to hook you up with that position or do whatever. No charge at all. That's my dedication to the cause. So these interviews I was talking about, my guy Steve, software guy, I need to get him in, and my guy Charles. I haven't talked to him in a while, and I should have been had it, but when the Roadcaster kind of broke, I had a bunch of interviews that I wanted to do, so I don't really want to do that on the StreamYard. So I'm gonna fix the Roadcaster first, but we'll use what we got now. I seen a position with Fargo, and I want to post that on the on the cover. And remember, I did some API support, so I wrote a whole chapter about that in my book, and it was a cool environment. I know some Black folks there's issues with all these places have issues. The culture in that department, it was cool, but remember I was telling y'all, I was in a meeting one time where there was a brother that was there for a long time, and all the dominant group, I'll say, got on code together, not the manager. Towards the end, this brother was going to Goldman Sachs, or was it JP Morgan or something like that, so he was going to get that big money. I had that in the story before. He was going to get big money. And they start hating on him, talking about he didn't do his job correct, this, that, and the third. And I went on LinkedIn and seen the brother. I said, let me just check this dude out real quick. Because I suspected it to be a lie off the rip. So I said, let me check this brother's experience. Man, this brother is platinum plated left and right. That's the Rosewood mentality I told y'all about. And they did this in front of me. Now, we were working remote, but they did this in front of me. This whole group came up talking about he didn't do this right and he didn't do that and they didn't like him and all that kind of stuff. And every time I worked with him, it was solid. If I ever ran into that brother again, I don't think we would know. We didn't work with each other that well. But if I ever ran into that brother, like if I'm at a black IT conference or something like that and he recognized me, like, hey man, I remember you, I want to holler at you, I'm gonna let him know. Man, these folks was trying to, I'm not gonna hide that. You know, I'm gonna do just like how a recent environment a brother did me. He seen me in distress where there were some injustices going on. He pulled me to the side and he made sure I was straight. And he said, okay, you need to look out for this person, that person, whatever the case may be. The point of this address was I seen something. And sometimes you just gotta, whatever you're good at. Remember I was telling that story about, I don't even know if I posted that. I hope I didn't delete it. But I was talking about how like a manager was like, hey, you doing all the work. Everybody's just sitting back, not doing nothing. Sit back. He's like, man, watch some Netflix or do whatever. And I said, okay. All right. You know, and he had to tell me twice. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I thought he called a meeting like, hey, man, you doing all the heavy lifting around here. You're exceeding what you're supposed to be doing. And he told me this is the second time that I see people not doing what they're supposed to be doing because they know you're doing it. So he says, I don't want you to take no tickets, none. Take maybe one. And I said, what do I do in the rest of the time? He said, man, you didn't hear from me. Netflix and chill. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of an overachiever when it comes to certain things. Once I kind of zero in and I know what I need to do, you know, I'm like what they call a blind ambitionist. Like my homie said, you don't think you just do it, and then he thinks. You know what I'm saying? Like I got this burning ambition about once I got something, my mindset, okay, we'll do it. So I might jump off a cliff a little time sometimes without, you know, but yeah, I'm off that cliff, man, parachute or not. So I said, well, I have this experience. And y'all want to check out that chapter. I hired an API integration engineer to write to give me the, you know, I wrote the chapter, but I contracted the person. I contracted a lot of people on my second book, a lot of people, a whole bunch of people. And Postman and API stuff, I said, let me see what they talking about. You know what I'm saying? Let me see what their rate is. Y'all get me at 85, 90. I want to get 100. 100,000 is the new middle class in the state of Minnesota. That's the new middle class. But 85, you can, you know what I'm saying? But you need 100, man. Team 100. So that's where I want to get y'all. I want to get y'all to 100 if you in this state. You know, at least 85, because it costs too much not to make 85. Especially if you have significant others, man, you really need to be 150, 200. But you need at least the new middle class, the new minimum wage to me is 100. You know, and there's been times where I almost did 150 something or not two, but well, I won't talk about that. But and I'm looking and I'm like, where'd all the bread and all the money went? A lot of it went to taxes and then business expenses and stuff. But I'm looking at like, okay, this is 150, 160. What happened to it? You see what I'm saying? You make more, so yeah, you pay more. But that's why you should consider these LLCs and stuff like that, so you don't get wrapped up in that. So, you know, there was something else I gotta tell y'all. I wonder if I could pause this and then bring this back up. Okay, so I wasn't able to pause it, but so the contractor told me, or not the contractor, but the guy from TCS, the recruiter, says it's United Health Group, UHG or Optum. I told him, I said, I did some stuff over there before. Matter of fact, when I started doing my tech training, I'll leave that alone. I'll leave that alone. I knew some folks that was over there. Okay. This is around the time where the Butter Biscuit Brigade Awards was, so. Y'all ever been in a situation, man, where you around some solid folks and then you get around, but okay, you got some solid folks, but they got some shaky folks around, and it's a critical situation because you don't really rock with the shaky folks, but by default they're extra cool with the solid ones, but maybe they may not have that same relationship you have, or it's different or whatever, or or it could be they might have a relationship that might be financially beneficial, or for between them two, but you just know that they're full of it, but they may not treat them like how they treat you. For example, you got a homeboy, and we all have had it. You got your homies, and all within the group of homies, there might be 2 or 3 of them that you grew up with, and maybe them 2 or 3 are just cowards, but you grew up in the same neighborhood and you never liked them because they're cowards and they're scary or whatever the case it may be, but you guys all hang together, but he's cool with them and they're tight because they grew up in the sandbox or whatever the case may be, but you don't really rock with them like that. But when you hang with your homie that you're close with, he's gonna be there too. So you're kind of like man, why y'all you mess with this dude like that? But tradition states that, well, he grew up in the same neighborhood and he's one of the guys, and it's like, okay, this dude's a lame, but you still have to tolerate him to a certain degree. And so it's kind of I'll leave it at that. I won't, because what they say is complicated. I'll just leave it at that. So anyway, this contract position with TCS, if I got any Salesforce business analyst people that's in the city in Minneapolis, you know what I'm saying, or anybody because this one also goes for, I think, Hartford, Connecticut. And remember, I was working at an insurance company. That was my first Windows 7 main enterprise contract. They're based in Hartford, Connecticut too. There's a lot of black folks out there too. I might expound on that a little bit, but I was asking them, I said, look, I did some perm stuff over there, and I know y'all don't hire again, but they might be able to, you know what I'm saying? They might be able to figure something out or whatever like that. But anyway, like I say, I'm still weighing my odds and weighing things out and seeing, okay, who has the best deal? Who has the best deal? Because I'm contracting. I'm doing some contracting right now. So the way I structure my resume is, um, I'll update the new gig, or I'll leave the other one on there. That was kind of the throwaway one before that. That was just trying to get me out of the weeds. So the bargaining chip is, you're already working somewhere. So the only way you want to move one, if you're contracting already, you only want to leave that contract if the rates are better and if you can insure something. And it's hard to do what I'm getting ready to say. You got to put your horses where the grass is greener. Now remember, when I was doing some previous API support the other year, we thought that this contract would be long. When they say the contract's going to be longer than what it is, it's never that way a lot of times. Now, if you're working for a financial institution or a bank, let's say you're working for Ameriprise or Fargo or any financial institution, they can only usually go 2 years. So 1 year for the first 1 year, and then they could extend it for a year. But then there's a cool off period. So that in that cool off period, they have to like furlough you for like 6 months or 3 months or something like that. So now you got to go find something else. So one time I seen a contract where it was, or I see something in some paperwork where it says this is till next year. You see what I'm saying? Well, right now, you want to start doing all your major looking, because the fiscal year, the way that those financial companies and most companies work is they try to get all their hiring around September. You see what I'm saying? So I'm starting to see more jobs picking up for certain things. You know what I mean? Now that Salesforce business analyst, I haven't really touched Salesforce since, I was working at that school, which I told you all about. And I was very vehement about telling the truth about what I saw. So nobody can really say that stuff didn't happen, because other black folks that work there, they know the deal too. I just got the intricacies of it because I could see things. Now, if I could get back into touching some Salesforce, and like I told y'all about Trailhead is something you could kind of do on your own and just kind of get the bits and pieces. That's something you might want to consider. But I probably would want to lean more towards, for me, doing more API stuff. Where I am at now, I've kind of reached the max. I've maxed out on technical capabilities. So I said, let me see if I can find something inside. If you can't find something inside, look for something outside. Contract or not, do not have loyalty with none of these companies, man. You are the person that needs to have loyalty within. You have loyalty to your bank account. Don't have any loyalty to none of these folks, because they could cut you loose at any given time. We're going to do a podcast about Bumble. Now, Bumble has lost 30% of their employees. Now, why do y'all think that is? Well, it's the stock, it's the tariff. Because men are taking their power back. Men are starting to get gamed up. They're starting to say, wait a minute, if they are a beta, they don't want to be that no more. They're like, wait a minute, the power is in me. I don't have to accept somebody's smart-lived baby mama with all these high expectations. That's what's going on right now in America. I'm not talking about the passport bros paying for their toots. I'm talking about men of means that's making anywhere between $75,000 to $300,000. They go on these dating apps and they looking at all these high expectations and demands to some hood rat with 1 million tattoos and horsehair. No, they don't want to pay for it anymore. That's why they're losing out. They're losing out because dudes is like, nah, if I get my bank account straight and I keep myself healthy or whatever, I'm gonna be pick of the litter. I don't have to accept anything. That's why they're losing 30%. If people aren't paying, then they're not gonna keep employees. Why is that? Why aren't the men paying anymore? You look at a lot of these apps, it's not geared towards curating benefits for the men. You see what I'm saying? So the dudes are like, nah, I'm good. I'll cancel my subscription. Because they're not seeing anything that qualifies their lifestyle. Dudes are smartening up. Yeah. I've heard guys I know, hey man, I'm canceling. I'm canceling my app. I've never used that kind of stuff, but we're going to dig into that, and we're going to dig into the technology behind it, how it makes it possible for some of that stuff as well too. So I'm going to get this digital journal up, man. We is rapping, man. And tonight we're going to do, I think tonight we're going to do a Friday night, what they call a Friday night wake up or warm up, Friday night warm up. So that's going to be another series. I'm doing another thing. The Foundational Freedmen, I got a special for y'all. I got something very, 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 very important, but I'm working on that, and that's going to have, well, you'll see it. It's going to be cool. So I'm going to try to change the way I'm doing some of my series and stuff. So I think that's going to be dope. Y'all enjoy that. Peace.